At school, I used to get called a beast. Yeah, I'm a beast. So thank you.
I was 18. I was like, I am mortified.
I know I said that we go for a lot, but celebrate being a woman. Go out and have goals and dreams.
The Rugby Rising Locker Room.
Hello, and thank you for joining us in the Rugby Rising Locker Room in partnership with Mastercard. I'm Sadia, and this is Maud.
Our guest today is the amazing Zainab Alema, or as we like to call her, Z.
Hi.
Thank you. Those who know her understand why her nickname is the Bulldozer. Her fearless playing style and determination is unrivaled. Z is also a neonatal nurse, a mother of 3, and the founder of a grassroots rugby charity, Studs in the Mud.
Today we are chatting about puberty. Nothing to be awkward about, especially as a nurse yourself. You must have seen it all. So first of all, why do you think this is important to talk about?
I think puberty is one of those subjects that, like you mentioned, a lot of people think it's taboo. I do feel like now we're moving away from that because a lot of young girls growing up, they feel more confident in speaking about things like this. Certainly, I think when I was growing up, puberty was a bit more like, it was there, but it was a bit, you'd feel nervous talking about things like periods, body image and things like that. But I think we're coming a long way from there. So like I'm really cool talking about stuff like that. Like you said, I'm a nurse. I've got 3 kids myself, so I've seen a lot of things. So nothing really phases me.
And obviously we're all athletes here, and there's a stat that by the age of 16 to 17, 64% of girls stop participating in sport. How do you feel about that, obviously, being an athlete yourself and a mother of 3 children too?
It's quite upsetting, to be fair, to hear of that statistic, because sport, as you all know, is such an incredible thing for mental health, social well-being, physical health as well. So to know that kids, or teenagers, shall I say, are dropping out from sport at that age is quite, it's sad, you know, because of the potential and the sort of things you can gain from participating in sport, you know, over that age. I think back to school, a lot of girls in my class used to write fake notes. For PE. I was never one of those girls, to be fair, because I love PE was one of my favourite subjects, but a lot of the girls in my class would like fake notes, you know, say, oh, their mum said they can't do PE today, or they're on their period, so they can't do PE today. Now, you know, in this day and age, having a period is not an excuse to not participate in sport anymore. You've got a lot of sanitary products available, so you can feel free to play a sport without feeling embarrassed that you may leak, etc. So yeah, and I think in terms of rugby, the topic of periods and white shorts has been sort of out in the open now. And players are making the choice whether they want to not wear white shorts or not. And I think, I mean, to be fair for me, I feel like that is something that would help me focus on the game. If I know that I'm wearing coloured shorts that are not white, I'm more likely to be like, okay, I can, you know, go out and bulldoze people, if you like, and not feel like I'm going to leak. So I feel like it is a sensible decision, but I think other people have different opinions on that.
Yeah,
I don't know what you guys think about.
We had a whole chat about it in England.
Did you guys wear white shorts? Of course.
Yeah, I think a lot of the resolving conclusions were that England, we feel like we want to play in white. Periods don't define us, and you know we still want to be in that England white kit. So we do see the time and a place where, you know, coloured shorts are very important, and if you do feel very insecure about, you know, leaking or anything, but I think that was our kind of opinion, was we want to be known as England. It doesn't matter if you're on your period or not on your period, we're going to play in white.
So do you think there's the question to ask that, are there products that make women or girls feel comfortable that they can play sports in white shorts? So I think for me, where I felt like it was a sensible decision to have non-white shorts is because I feel like maybe I don't trust that I won't leak, you know, especially if you have heavy periods, for example. But I think if I could say that, oh, this particular sanitary product that I feel like I'll be 100% safe, I wouldn't mind wearing white shorts or, you know, light coloured shorts, to be fair.
Yeah, we've had some, and I actually use, we have these period boxes, so even if I'm on my period, I have extra protection with those boxes, and they're leak proof, and you just put them in the washing machine after you're done, and they're reusable.
Look
and
a bit like undershorts as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously with us, we still wear the white shorts, but it was made sure that there was options for people who did still feel uncomfortable.
Fantastic.
That there are extra layers, and they're comfortable. They're because I've had situations where I've been in England. kit or just white
Gains,
kit,
yeah.
and I have leaked. And for me, and I was 17, 18, and for me, I was like, I am mortified right now, mortified. And you don't want it to take away from the pride of wearing the white short, but now we have things in place where we can still feel comfortable and still be, you know, not going to leak and you're not going to have that worry. So yeah, even if you do wear white shorts, if you don't wear white shorts, there are things now being put into place, because you don't want to have that extra worry about whether you're going to leak. You're there to play rugby.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you might have to send me the link to that.
Yeah,
definitely. We'll send it.
They are my favourite. I've got like 4 pairs.
You do wear them.
Yeah.
No, even on non-period days,
Mom, comfy. I want to touch on, do you remember the time when you realised that boys and puberty and that journey was very different? I kind of remember I'm a one of 3 siblings, 2 brothers, and there was a point where I couldn't fight my brother anymore. We couldn't play fight. We couldn't race. We couldn't do that because they would always, you know, beat me or be stronger. But do you remember that kind of shift?
I kind of remember like the boys like in our year, how better they got, I guess, in the sports, like things like the things like the throwing, the javelin, the discus, the shot put, they just seemed to like almost like skyrocket it. I thought, wow, like you weren't throwing before summer, you weren't throwing that far, or you weren't running that fast, you know, I could beat you in the race.
I think when I was growing up playing rugby, I played with boys from the age of 5 to 11 or 12. I think I was so having such a good time playing rugby, I literally didn't even realise I was the only girl. You know, when you're kind of, everyone is embracing you and you're playing your best rugby and it's just about having fun. Didn't really notice the difference between girls and boys. As you do get older, I think I remember towards the end of playing with the boys, they do get a bit bigger. I think it's important for young kids to realise that there is going to be a difference, because otherwise you're like, why am I getting so much worse? When in fact, as a girls, you're not getting worse. It's just that the boys are developing a bit more at that point in time. So it's just education around that for the girls and for the boys, to be fair.
I think that's so important as well, because I know we're focusing on like the women and the girls, but there are men in the world, you know.
Yeah.
So, and you've got brothers and cousins and dads and substance and things like that. So they need to also be aware and tap into what we're going through and how they can support, how they can advocate for us.
So you started rugby about when you were 14. Could you tell us a bit like what that was like? Obviously you were going probably through puberty at the time. Yeah, what was your experiences with that?
I had a great experience, like was very positive for me. But I would say at school, even before I started playing rugby, I used to get called a beast.
Right, okay.
I mean, at the time, boys used to try it with me, and I used to get in the fights, right? And obviously, I'm not going to back down. I'm going to defend myself. So I used to get in a lot of fights at school with boys.
Right.
And I had like so many sisters. I never fought any of my sisters. The first time I was actually having fights with boys at school. So I used to get called a beast because of it. Right. And it wasn't something that I would say affected me. But when I look back, obviously, it's not really a nice thing to be called, especially when you're a girl trying to fit in, you're going through puberty. I'd describe myself as quite a feminine girl, love my makeup, etc. So being called a beast is a bit contrary to how I guess you want to be perceived as a 14-year-old. But looking back, I think it just makes so much sense. Like why it was called a beast before I even touched a rugby ball, mind you. So when rugby did come into my life, I felt like I used that terminology, I guess, that sort of beast sort of name into a positive thing. Because let's be honest, as a female rugby player, if you get called a beast, that is an absolute compliment. Is that not?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
So I guess to all those boys that called me a beast, yeah, I'm a beast.
Yeah.
She is a beast. Yeah. Bulldozer.
So yeah, looking back, I think it was probably quite appropriate that I was being called a beast and I ended up being a rugby player, and yeah. So,
And smashing it.
Yeah.
Do you have your own personal experiences about puberty and how it affected sport and your life?
On the topic of periods, I remember like my mum used to like teach us how to put on a pad, a sanitary towel, etc., because that's what was commonly used back then. And I remember vividly her like showing us, this is how you put it on the pants, this is how you know, the wings, etc. And if you need extra support, maybe you can put some tissue. Like, she went through all of that with us, and at the time, like, I didn't realise how important that was, because I guess people sort of always kind of expect you to know, because you're a woman or a young girl, it's going to happen to you. A lot of us, it happens to us. So it's like you should automatically know what to do. But if no one's taught you, then how would you know? So I'm really thankful that my mum was like, you know, wise enough to show us literally step by step, this is what you do. And so I remember when I came on, I just walked into stuff in the middle of the night, I think, or like early morning. I just walked into the room and was like, Mum, I started my period. And then she was like, okay. And, you know, she got out of bed and she gave me all of everything I needed. And that was that. So it kind of felt like in our household, because I'm one of 6. Like, we're all girls. So
Yeah.
So
lots of emotions.
a lot of experience. I'm the second one. So, you know, every time someone like would come on, it was just a normal thing in our household because we're all girls. So obviously I have a charity called Sadia and Maud, and a lot of my work there is with women and children. And one thing that, we're using rugby to sort of change their lives. And one thing that I recently been thinking about is trying to also incorporate like sanitary products, because we've all heard of period poverty, where like a lot of young girls, especially living in like third world countries, can't actually afford sanitary towels or any sanitary products. So one of the things that I really want to incorporate into my work with Sadia and Maud is trying to give them access to sanitary products. And I'm just thinking about, obviously you guys coach, you know, a lot of girls and that who would have been at puberty or going through puberty. What kind of things do you feel like they have to support them, or is there any sort of ideas you feel like could bring about that sort of extra layer of support for them when they're going through such things like puberty?
I think it's just openness. Like, by talking about it, it seems normal, and it is normal. And if you're open about it, people will be able to, you know, talk to their friends about going through a hard time, or, you know, do you have a tampon? You know, as simple as that. Like, I think being able to ask your friends for a tampon, that's so simple, but could be such a fearful thing. So I think being as open as you can to kids, to growing teenagers, is a key thing, I think, for me.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, like, doing coaching with like groups of like 10 to 12-year-olds and then 13 to 15-year-olds, and seeing the difference between how the girls react. Because I noticed in that like 13 to 15 age, as girls, we get very self-conscious. You know, you're in training, you miss a tackle, you're like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. And it's like, but then when I was with the 10 to 12-year-olds, they didn't care. You know, they hadn't got to that stage where they were worried about what people thought about them, or how they looked, or, you know, how big their thighs were, or if their friends thought they were cool. So I think, especially for me, it's just about, being open, but also kind of instilling that confidence. You know, that same confidence that you had a year ago, you still have that now. You know, obviously you're going through things, you're going through feelings which are completely normal. But it's just so interesting to see how, you know, as you do go through puberty, in different stages of puberty, how that affects you, whether that's your period or your self-esteem or your body image. But I think, definitely with coaching and being around it, whether that's your charity work, I think for me it's about instilling that confidence in those girls that whatever you're going through is normal, but doesn't change like who you are, and if that's a rugby player or just wherever you want to be.
One time when I went to school and I was doing a bit of coaching, and one position or one sort of rugby position where I find that the girls were really self-conscious about is when I was in tower, power and scrum shape. I don't know what it is about that. They just like, miss or not doing that.
Very foreign body.
It's
in normal life, why would you do that?
That is
like,
so
why
true.
do we do what we do?
For people who don't know, that's basically you're on
all fours,
basically. Yeah.
And they found it, they were like, what is this? Fair enough, they had never been in that position before, but they was just, I had to really try and, you know, change the name or like just make it seem more comfortable.
In like joining it with sport and puberty, and do you have a memory of like, I feel like all the girls go through it when you come to school and you realise, actually I need to start wearing a bra today, I need to go to PE and wear a bra, and the feeling of, you know, changing from your training bra to an actual sports bra, and that kind of self-conscious nature around it. Like, did you have a time where you felt like your body was going through those puberty changes, whether that was, you know, thicker thighs or having to, wear a bra or anything, that kind of stopped you from playing sports, or things you've witnessed that other girls have kind of gone through?
Yeah. I to be fair, growing up, I didn't really have much boobs, so I don't think I had a problem. But obviously, like wearing supportive, bra, etc., was obviously really important. But I think thinking about sort of sport, going back to rugby, like now I wouldn't even ever think of stepping on a rugby pitch without a bra, especially when you're playing contact sport,
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm trying to think back to when I had my first child, like going back, it was, I know we're talking about puberty, but I was breastfeeding when I came back from my firstborn. And I didn't really expect to have much pain when like playing rugby. I'm wearing a sports bra, everything's still, snug, but having to, go against having the contact in rugby whilst breastfeeding is a different experience. Yeah. So I'm really thankful to having a decent sports bra, but still, like, I feel like when you're breastfeeding, you do get quite tender breasts, and I'm not sure it's something that is talked about a lot with mums coming back from rugby, and probably puberty as well. Like when your breasts are growing, some women and some girls find they have tender, sore breasts. So there's a lot to be said about how to manage that, which I don't think many people speak about, to be fair.
And do you have any like personal advice? What would you say to a young girl that was going through puberty and felt like they, were struggling?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I'd say to the young girl that, puberty is normal. It's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to shy away from. If there's something that you feel like you're struggling with, definitely speak out to those you feel comfortable to. There's a lot of people, even beyond the home, you can speak to that will give you like listening ear, whether it's teachers, sometimes it could be coaches at rugby clubs. So definitely speak out if you need support in any sort of way. And just celebrate being a woman. I feel like I know I said that we go through a lot, but at the same time, like, I'm proud to be a woman. I'm proud to just have that, go through those challenges, I guess, and still be a decent human being and go out and have goals and dreams, So don't let it stop you from playing sport, and just keep going and, know that you have support. Yeah.
Thank you so much for all your amazing advice, C. It's so incredible to hear. And now we are going to offer up some priceless advice in partnership with Mastercard.
So this question has been sent in to us, and actually it was on topic of one of the things we were talking about.
Okay.
It says, I'm struggling to find a sports bra that fits and feels supportive. Do you have any recommendations?
To be fair, I feel like I need to get more sports bras. I'm probably not the best person to answer. But I've heard there's this one that's been going around. I don't want to butcher the name. Is it Booby
Doo bra.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks for saving me there. Yeah, that one. So I guess I'd recommend that because I've seen a lot of rugby players wearing that. Yeah. So that's probably one that I'd recommend.
I think it's a very personal thing. Like, I've tried a lot of sports bras. I needed to get more supportive.
You're an expert on this one, actually.
I know I am. Well, not an expert. I tried to get more supportive, but they hurt my back, to be honest, and like it just wasn't comfortable. So I'm still on the double sports bra, double protection. But yeah, not the best sports bras sometimes, but if it works for you, it works for you. I think it's very, very individual.
Yeah, very personal. I think I'd recommend My Protein, though. They have a really good sports bra range from like just low support to extremely high support sports bras as well. And they look pretty nice. So I would, recommend those two.
This sounds so rude, but do some girls tape their boobs?
Connie
Powell.
Powell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do they find that?
She says it's really good. But like she wears still a sports bra on top, but she just says it provides an extra layer of support. Yeah,
in case you can't find a supportive sports bra, get that brown tape from the physio room and tape it up. It does
not
the
the
job.
zinc tape.
Not the zinc tape. And no sticky spray, because that will
No, yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Zee. We've loved chatting to you. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure to watch more episodes of Rugby Rising Locker Room in partnership with Mastercard. Goodbye.
Bye.